We are in the golden era of owning a law firm. So why is it that some law firm owners succeed and some law firm owners struggle? Prices that law firm owners can charge are at the all-time high levels. Efficiencies brought on by technology and artificial intelligence are continuing to grow, which are fundamentally bringing expenses down. Law firm owners' understanding of how to run a business is increasing. Their business acumen is starting to go up, which means we are in a period where law firm owners are maximizing profitability like few other industries before them. Law firms are starting to trend in the direction where law firm owners are actually able to taste real freedom. That's assuming they build their law firm based on systems and hire people to run those systems and then focus on profitability. But the question is, why do some law firm owners succeed rapidly while others succeed slowly or fail for a long time before they finally quit and just go back to somewhat level of mediocrity where they're toiling away for less than they deserve for longer than they should? Now, I want to be clear, I'm not judging those who are not succeeding right away. I believe that everybody is just one small carburetor adjustment away from succeeding at the level that they actually want to succeed at. Just because you're not successful today doesn't mean you can't be successful tomorrow. Hey, if you'd like more information about this topic and other topics that focus on the systems in your law firm, go ahead and visit thelawfirmsecret.com and we can share with you our community and ways that you can connect with us absolutely free, no commitment. And we can start to take the next step and you can learn more about how we see running a law firm built by systems. If you're listening to this right now, it's not over for you. You're moving in the right direction. You're trying to figure out how to get out of law firm ownership hell and to the CEO level. Well, great. This should hopefully help you. There might be a limiting belief that's stuck in your way. So let me illustrate this by telling the story of my rich grandfather and my poor grandfather. So Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I remember reading it years ago thinking, oh, I had a rich grandfather, poor grandfather. I mean this solely in the sense of business acumen, by the way, because you can be rich in more ways than just money in business, right? My poor grandfather, while didn't have a lot of money, made up for it in love, charisma, patience, lessons taught to me from how to change the oil in my car to how to play pinochle and how to fish. I respect that he raised me like his own from age 5 until age 10 when my stepfather stepped into the picture. And so I owe him a lot. My rich grandfather was the one who, by definition, was successful in business. My rich grandfather was in the funeral business, and it was a failing funeral business. I mean, his father had taken it over from his father. So my grandfather was a third generation, and his father, as I understand it, had really made the business not grow. And as a matter of fact, he made it go the other direction because he did some basic things wrong. And my grandfather, just out of pure hard work, didn't really know what he was doing and faced some really challenging times through that period where they didn't think they were going to make it and they had to cut corners and watch costs at all points. It was probably 10 years in the making before he started to see some traction. He started in 1946-ish and see all of the number of funerals they did, and you can see how 10 years in he had built it up to where it was when I bought it, a snot-nosed kid, in 1995 after he had passed away in 1992. So he died in a way that some people would call a success, monetarily speaking, in that myopic view of business. Yet my poor grandfather was also a business owner. He had owned a grocery store. This is back when small mom and pop grocery stores were the way the neighborhoods bought their groceries. There was not big grocery stores. There was one, but like most people didn't go there. If you're not familiar with Pennsylvania, you've probably heard of the Poconos. Anyway, we were in Scranton, which is where the store was, and they moved to the Poconos because the New Yorkers and the Jersey people were coming there and there was a great opportunity. And he wasn't wrong. There was great opportunity. However, my grandfather ran up against a landlord that made things difficult for him. He went from owning a very successful store to go to grasp for the golden ring, and he ran into somebody that caused a lot of problems. So much so that my grandfather ended up closing the store, and he quit, and he went back to working for another grocery store as a butcher. Consequently, my grandfather never had much money. I don't know exactly what he made, but he didn't make much more than $12 to $15 an hour, maybe at the height way back when. He was an expert grocer, an expert butcher, a kind man, extremely patient, diligent, hardworking, raised as a farmer, and I would say he was an expert at his craft. And he was a business owner at what time? Now, again, my rich grandfather, also hard worker, expert at what he did in the funeral business. And he was an expert at managing money. And he too ran into some really difficult times over some really long periods. He went without seeing growth in the business. What was the difference between my rich grandfather and my poor grandfather, I think? The first was choice. My poor grandfather in business, he chose an industry that didn't have a high level of price elasticity. Now, if he specialized and he became just the best butcher in town, he could have, but he didn't. He was a generalist. And as a generalist, he didn't have a high level of price elasticity. My rich grandfather was in the funeral business, the professional service business, and people paid premium for the services that he offered because they were willing to pay somebody an expert pay. So look at you as a law firm, how that translates over. You've chosen an industry that has high price elasticity. I spoke about this earlier, that you're in the golden era of law firm ownership. Great, check. What's next? Mindset. My rich grandfather lived really frugally to make the dollar stretch, but he did it over a long period of time because his mindset and his attitude about grit was that eventually is going to pay off. My poor grandfather, unfortunately, when he ran up to one of his first real obstacles, he fundamentally quit on the business. And I think that haunted him most of his years. I love him as a human. But as a business person, what was the difference? I work with attorneys all the time. And some of the attorneys that have been with me for years, some of them for 15 years, will say to me, my gosh, you have a lot of patience. I heard you tell this same answer to this attorney 3 months ago, and they didn't do it then. And I don't think they're going to do it now. And you don't get mad at them. You don't get upset. You don't get frustrated with them. You just keep telling them the same thing again. And I'm by no means perfect. I do sometimes jump up and down on my desk screaming and yelling, and I lose my patience. But for the most part, what I realize is that I don't know where you're at. But I do know that after working with attorneys for a long time, many of you didn't see yourselves as business people going into this. Many of you opened up your own practice because you didn't want to be under somebody else's thumb. You felt like they weren't paying you properly. You felt like you could do a better job because you felt like that's just what you were supposed to do. There's lots of reasons for it. And now you find yourself maybe overworked. Likely you feel undercompensated. And for some of you, you feel like you're in hell and you're wondering how to get out. I can't promise you how long you'll be in hell, but I can promise you that there's a path out. It first starts here in your mindset that you're going to do whatever it takes to stand in front of that mountain and turn it into gold. Whatever it takes, you're going to absolutely positively make it happen. And you're not going to get stuck into the thinking that has been entrenched in your brain about the way things should be done. You're going to go find out what the truth is. There's what you think is true, and then there's what's actually true, right? You're going to find out the truth. And you're going to see somebody else who's done something like you, and they're going to inspire you, and you're going to actually take action. And if you don't, it's okay too. And it bothers you to be in business, I implore you to not grow your business past the level 1 law firm owner level. Keep it small, keep it all. Maximize your profitability. Don't grow your firm to try to go to the CEO level. You'll drive yourself crazy. And just keep your $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year to the bottom line if you're doing 900, $1 million, $1.2 million, depending on your practice area. And live a life of balance. And if that's not interesting to you, because there's still all the moving parts of owning a business, then go maximize your earning in the practice area you're in by working for somebody else and save yourself a whole bunch of aggravation. Because the reality is, in order to make it in business, you have to be willing to do some things that you were taught as a law firm owner, or let's specifically say as a lawyer, are not normal for you. They're not along the same lines as which you were taught. There's nothing wrong with everything you do as being a lawyer, but sometimes the things they taught you in law school are in contrast with the things that are required to be a great business owner. Keep going, keep trying, keep testing, keep iterating, keep increasing your skill sets. Be happy with failure, try and fail. You'll learn from it quickly. What I love about lawyers is when the light bulb finally goes off, the ratio of speed to success is fantastic to watch. So for now, while we're in this golden era, make as much dough as you can, service as many clients as you can, help as many people as you can, do as much of God's work as you can, and allow yourself to be rewarded along the way so that when it's over and the music stops, you've got a chair to sit in that we call your pile of assets that you'll still be able to live off of and retire from. Hope this was helpful to you. Let's go build your law firm one mindset at a time. Hey, if you'd like more information about this topic and other topics that focus on the systems in your law firm, go ahead and visit thelawfirmsecret.com and we can share with you our community and ways that you can connect with us absolutely free, no commitment, and we can start to take the next step and you can learn more about how we see running a law firm built by systems.